I gave people all the stuff they really needed. Social Security checks, utility bills, TV guide.
I want a TV guidance counselor. TV guidance counselor. Staying up to watch all night, and everything's gonna be alright with my TV guidance counselor.
Hey everyone, welcome. It's Ken Reed here. It's TV Guidance Counselor as we barrel through September. I always want to say it's back to school, but people go in like mid-August. That's messed up. And my birthday's in June, and I feel like kids are in school. How old am I? What am I talking about? Anyway, welcome to September. Hopefully you're feeling autumnal. Get yourself some apple cider donuts as we make our way into the Halloween season, which is the one time of year generally that I feel okay at the best of times, but we'll see how we do. Anyway, I know you'll feel okay, at least for the next hour and some change, listening to this episode, because my guest is the great Bob Perlow, and Bob is an innovator, is the best way to say it. He basically invented what we think of as warm-up guys for TV tapings. It existed before, but the version of it that we know is the Bob invention for very specific reasons. And we get into them here. He has a great book he wrote a number of years ago called The Warm-Up Guy. You can get it on Amazon. It's a very quick read and it's great stories. Again, if you like this show, you'll love his book. And you'll love this episode because there's just so many interesting and fun showbiz stuff, and great guy, local Rhode Island guy. Local talent made good, who was out in LA for years and is back in Rhode Island. And I do love Rhode Island. I have a special place in my heart for Rhode Island. If you'd like to talk to me about Rhode Island, you can do so. Why don't you email me at tvguidancecounselor@gmail.com or ken@icanread.com, or go on Patreon if you have $1 a month. Patreon.com/TV Guidance Counselor. Huge help to doing the show. I am a one-man, army's not the right word, one-man show here. So it helps with all that stuff. And, if you don't, that's cool too. Want to leave a review? No one's reviewed the show in a long time. Or tell a friend to listen to the show. You'll want to, because this week's episode is very good. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of TV Guidance Counselor with my guest, Bob Perlow.
TV is my friend, and it has been always there for me in time of need.
Live via satellite from the smallest state in the Union. I think that's still true. Bob Perlow, how are you, sir?
But very wide.
Very wide. It's deep. That's what people don't know. It goes down hundreds of miles.
The old Steve Wright joke. Planet Earth is not that big, but I wouldn't want to paint it.
Yes. That's another when he's like, I walk my dog all at once. He had that same bit where he's like,
yeah, right.
So I was just saying before we recorded that your book is great, and it's, for people like the show, it's perfect. And a ton of people I know have either been guests on the show or friends of the show that you've worked with over the years, on all the shows you've worked on. But the funny thing about the book is you mentioned Night of the Comet. And you mentioned that it's like, this is a movie no one knows me from.
Right.
But I was in for 2 minutes. But the reason I know who you are originally is from Night of the Comet. So I grew up in Boston and spent my summers in Rhode Island, and you have a Rhode Island accent.
So I thought I lost it in LA, but I got it back.
So I recognized that seeing Night of the Comet. I was like, this guy has a New England accent. Who is this guy? And then the next time I saw you was in Newhart. You in the No Room at the Inn episode. You're in the last scene.
How brilliant was that ending?
So funny. The Wisemans.
The three Wisemans.
Yes. It's that episode's just perfect.
Yep.
So I was like, that's that guy again. And he's gotta be from here. So those two things. And then I started learning more about what you've done. But so I am the person who knows you from Night of the Comet.
Boy, talk about obscure.
That is a huge fan base now. It's like a massive rediscovery of that movie in the last few years. Yeah.
I have the original poster in my room.
Yeah, the last probably 5 years, it's got a huge cult audience now. And I've had Kelly Maroney on and a few other people on, but it's massively popular now. And it's a great movie.
Oh, good.
It's a great
There's
movie.
30 cents in my pocket.
Yeah, you'll get that check that costs the check that's for less than the stamp.
Yep.
Give it the thing. But so there's that. But for people that don't know you, where to start really? Like you sort of invented what people think of as warm-up comic to this day, because it was very different when you started. They would just kind of get a writer to come out and kind of do some shtick.
I actually have. He recreated it for me. Gary Marshall, who, for those of you who don't know, is the godfather after Norman Lear and before Chuck Lorre of that Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Mork and Mindy. And one show, like you said, warm ups kind of existed, but not as a real job. It was like go and talk to the audience, and they'd give you $25. And once that dried up, that being the writing, I was a writer on Laverne and Shirley. One day, Gary came up and said, "Bob, that you know how he talks."
Oh yeah, Bob.
Bob, the audience is a little dead tonight. Go talk to them. Be funny. And I have that, and I use that when I do my presentations.
So funny.
And I liked it. And up until then, nobody did it for a living. They did it as an adjunct to whatever they were doing on the show, or it just was a non-job.
Because it's a very specific skill set. So, and I always say this as a stand-up, it's not quite stand-up. And I know stand-ups that have gotten warm-up gigs and they're like, I ran out of material in 15 minutes and then I had to do another 4 hours and it was like hell on earth. It's sort of, you're like a, what do you describe it as? You're like a party planner,
America's
babysitter, host of, yeah, because you have sort of a sequestered audience that you have to keep happy and laughing for hours.
Sequestered or imprisoned?
Imprison's probably the less nice way to say it.
Yeah, and it was my job to keep them. And to get off a little tangent, it went up to, on Friends of all shows, 8 hours. I mean, and it was my job they had a lot. The producers were ridiculous because, again, not getting into the minutia of it, but they were used to doing till 3, 4 in the morning with Dream On.
Right.
Because there was no audience.
Yeah, it's a single
So
cam.
they thought,
It was a
wow,
film.
we're
Yeah.
doing something right. We'll just keep them. I go, no one's going to nothing is good after 3 hours.
No.
Food, sex, clothes, nothing. You go, I want to go home. And I had to keep them because if they got up to leave, the producers would come to me and go, what's wrong? In my mind, I'm going, what's wrong? The way you're doing this show is wrong.
Yes.
Either feed them or do true audiences, something. But you're not going to get the same laugh. If someone tells you a joke, two guys go into a bar, that's funny. Wait. 2 guys get the same joke
Yeah.
5 times. You're not going to get, even
No.
on the second run. It was a sequestered group of people.
And it's funny because so sitcom in general, especially multicam sitcoms, we've talked about it in the show a lot. Like Joel Zwick's been on. You probably work with Joel in Full House and a bunch of other stuff. It's unique in that it's not theater and it's not film. It's this weird hybrid of the two, where it's sort
It's
of
neither fish nor fowl.
Yes. At its worst, I call it a futon, where it's not a great bed and not a great couch, but it does both.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you brought up a good point with that they don't know what they're in for. If they're a couple from Rhode Island, they go, "Oh, let's go see Friends. It's a hot ticket." And after 2 hours, they're going, "What? We haven't eaten." And it's my job to go, "What? You haven't eaten? Hold on." And I would get one of the interns or pages to go and get a sandwich. You feel better? See, it's nice.
Yeah. Call your family. Tell them you're okay.
Yeah.
It's like a proof of life. Because
that
it's
was another thing I did. I requested and got, because at the time I was one of the few sought after warm-up guys because there weren't that many of
It's a
us.
skill set that's difficult to develop. So you have like a specialist.
Stand-up, you would think would lend itself to that, but it doesn't because they go through their material and they're still looking at 3 hours. I had no material, so I never ran out.
Yeah, it's an improv person. It's a party planner. You're like a camp counselor. Like
Yeah.
it's just a different thing, and it's funny because that was the norm. So like multicam sitcoms were 95% of shows up until probably the mid 90s.
I hit the sweet spot from
Perfect.
1978 to 2008. But the sweet spot is Cheers, Taxi, Newhart,
Night Court,
Full House.
Who's
I
the
did
Boss? Yeah.
Who's the Boss? I was a writer on, so I didn't do the warm up on that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's like famously Danny Arnold, who did Barney Miller, had to petition the studio to not have a live audience. After like 3 episodes, he was like, "We want to go till 3 a.m. Let's not have a live," and it was like a big deal.
I was an extra on Barney Miller. And what would happen, Danny Arnold, that you speak of, brilliant, but crazy.
Yeah.
We would be sitting on the set waiting for pages to come down, new pages of dialogue. And that's why it took so long. Another Danny Arnold story, I don't know how many people know this. He was a writer for Jerry Lewis.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And Jerry Lewis was always mean.
Yes,
You know?
nobody likes
Always.
Jerry.
I mean,
yeah, Milton Berle and Jerry Lewis, I've never heard good stories
they're
about.
right up there. So when he was just coming into his own with Dean Martin, so this is predates the split, they were on Paramount Lot, and I think Irving Zucker, who was in his 90s, Jerry saw him. Hey, give me there's a football. Hey, Zucker, go long, and threw it at a 90-year-old man. And, put him down. It was just a bad guy. And Danny Arnold, Jerry Lewis, as a young kid, was a writer for Danny Arnold. And Danny Arnold, not a nice guy either, had Jerry Lewis lie down on a golf course and put a tee in his mouth and a golf ball and knocked him out. He missed the thing. But you could see how that perpetuated him being mean later.
Yeah, he like trained him to be to treat people badly or like mean.
And Dean was such a sweet guy that, he didn't raise a ruckus. Do you know how that split really came about?
No.
Dean Martin was notorious for just showing up, give me my lines, I'll sing a song in the movies,
Yeah.
and that'll be it. And Jerry wanted more and more and more. Finally, he said, Dean, I want to sing in the next movie. And Dean, knowing that, he didn't want to cause a ruckus, he goes, okay, one song. Oddly enough, that one song became a hit. It was Sit Upon My Knee, Sonny Boy,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh yes.
And
Yep.
because it became a hit, Jerry then wanted more songs. And
I'm a
that's when-
singer.
Yeah. And that's when Dean drew the line. He's going, you know what? I sing. I'll put this up. I'll play golf. But you're not going to be singing in these movies like me. That's
Yeah.
my thing. Yeah.
It's funny because like I always tell the people, I'm like the Jerry Lewis and King of Comedy. That's Jerry Lewis. Like that character he's playing. That's basically what he was like. Maybe a little nicer in that movie than in real life.
Yeah. Yeah. So I remember him going along and putting the window down when Rupert was walking on the sidewalk.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, he's awful. And my favorite, Martin Short used to do an impression of Jerry Lewis on SCTV that was unlike other people because he would do him as when Jerry Lewis thought he was a cool guy. So he'd have like the cigarette and he'd be like, and then you got the network head with the pimples on his face. Wow! Like it'd just be like this, like not a great guys. But you're, aside from being there for this like golden age of sitcom, you're also there at this time where exactly guys like that from the sort of golden age of Hollywood are still around and working. But you're also getting this new kind of like, it's sort of a weird bridge time where you could still run into guys like that.
Boy, does that ring a bell? Because, I remember seeing Jimmy Stewart. and all the old timers, Kirk Douglas, and then the new crop, which now they're in their late 70s. If Freddie Prinze had lived, all of that, yeah, I saw the changing of the guard. Even the restaurants changed.
That's what was the difference.
Yeah,
No more Brown Derby. No more.
Chasen's,
Oh yeah, Chasen's.
Wolfgang Puck's first two places. Yeah, they're all gone.
But you still got like the smokehouse is still there. Like there's a few that are like still by the
Oh,
lots, you know.
venerable. Yeah, if there's a studio nearby, because I did a lot of work at Radford in CBS. I worked at that time, the same studio, the same night on the worst sitcom, and two stages over was the best, Seinfeld. And I was working on a single guy. You don't know that one, do you?
Jonathan Silverman. It was Julia
Wow.
Louis Dreyfus's husband created it.
Brad Hall.
Brad Hall, yeah. Olivia Dalbo was on that show for a while as a friend. But yeah, single
And
guy.
Ming Na Wen.
Yes, who was probably the biggest breakout from that after.
Yeah. And one of the nicest guys, again, I'm not going to go into details, but Ernest Borgnine was the doorman.
Yep.
And he was the first movie star that I saw when I moved to LA. And I'm driving and I see a car, the license Mercedes, BORG, and the letter 9. I go, it can't be. It's got to be a cousin. I pull up and that big toothy grin. I go, hey, Ernest
There is.
Borg 9.
I swear, I think Eddie Mecca was from Lowell or something, I want to say, or is from Massachusetts,
I
or
didn't know that.
because before he passed away, I swear in New Hampshire, I saw him driving a car with Big Ragu as the license plate.
That's sad.
I swear, and I was like, that's him?
And that's as big as he ever got. I mean,
Yeah.
like, as you well know, most sitcom stars, that's their one break. It's
Yep.
the Saggets and the Ted Dansons are few and far between. They got the brass ring, and they'll always be famous. And to me, the worst thing that you could be is famous and poor.
Which is a lot of people.
It's most.
Yeah.
They think that it's going to, that gravy train is, they buy the car, they buy the house, the money stops, and no house, no car. And as you know, that's most.
Yeah, and it's like you can't like there's a story in there. I think you ran into David Naughton and he was bartending or something. But they're people.
And deservedly so.
Yes, that's what I've heard. It's funny because it's really hard. Like everyone's seen you on this TV show. Then you're not working for 2 years. Are you going to go get a temp job at an office? They're going to be like, "Why are you? You're a famous person. They're not going to hire you." You know, it's like
The
a
best
hard.
example of that, and I didn't know him, but a few years ago it came to, I don't even know the guy's name, but he was on a show in the 80s, and now he's working at Trader Joe's.
Oh, he played Elvin. He was on the Cosby Show.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But it's like you got to make a living. It's it's a weird the thing I've learned especially doing stand up and doing this show is how blue collar acting is as a gig because it's gig to gig and it's like a friend of mine coined the term Hollywood poor where he's like you might get a big paycheck but you have to live like you don't have any money cuz you got to make that
Yep.
last.
Leave town then. Don't be the guy like in high school, the star football player for some reason hangs out in
Yeah.
front of the school because that's the height of his fame, and he'll never be that young, good looking, or revered for the rest of his life.
And you got an interesting perspective of that because you managed to get the working on these shows, but not having to deal with, you're not on camera like they are, but you're working on the shows every week. Like it's kind of the best of both worlds in that regard, right?
And I was lucky enough to hit the sweetest of sweet spots in sitcoms. I mean, nothing has rivaled it before, even with Norman Lear or since. And now they're virtually, I don't know how much TV you watch, but they're virtually almost impossible. I get angry
Oh, they're
when I
terrible.
see Neighborhood is my big one.
It's two things, I think. One, they a half hour sitcom is 18 minutes now without commercials.
Yeah, right.
Where it's like, you can't do anything in 18 minutes. And they completely dispensed with trying to write jokes for people based on their character. So like on Cheers and Newhart, you couldn't, not everyone could do the jokes written. It wouldn't work if someone else did that joke.
Very character driven.
Exactly. And now everyone has the same voice. They all have the writer's voice, and the jokes don't matter who says them. They come out of the people have no distinction. I notice on these sitcoms. It's like,
Let me ask you, this never came up even when it was on. There was a show 2 or 3 years ago, maybe COVID-y, and it took place in a bar that a girl opened up in her building. Something
remember.
place.
I don't remember it. It was a network show.
Yeah, it was Fox. And she opened up an illegal bar with seats and everything, and I never heard from any of them again. But what piqued my interest is at the end, they filmed it outside, and they actually had the wherewithal to say, "This is filmed outside in front of a live audience."
Because it was during COVID. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Awful.
It's funny too when some of this stuff doesn't work. Like I think of there's stuff on paper that should have worked. And you talk about working on Madeline with Madeline Kahn, which was one of those situations that show did not work very well. Partly because I think it was mostly them trying to write her like she was Lucille Ball. It was like, let's have her do all this like physical comedy. And it was like, that's not what she does.
Did it not work? And too bad. And I don't know if I put that in the book or not, but she made the not classic, because I've never seen, in all the shows I've done, she's the only one that hasn't done it, come out for the introductions,
Yeah.
which
You did. Yep.
Newhart was the master. He would come out and do 5 minutes, the same jokes. But what that did was ingratiate him to the audience. So when the show started, go, "Oh, that's our friend Bob." They don't say that. He was talking, but in their head, they go, "They've already met him and he's a nice guy." Madeline, it took them a scene or two to go, "Oh, yeah, she's funny." But, I guess that's the theater in her, because in the theater, you don't see introductions. The play starts and they do the curtain call after.
Right. They don't want to break the illusion.
The
But then at
fourth wall.
the same time, I was going to mention this earlier. If you're going to a taping, you're not watching a play. It's not done like a play. It's not done in order all the time. It's not, if you're sitting watching the sitcom taping, you're not necessarily getting a coherent story. Like, it's not easy to sit and
Just
watch.
the
It's not
opposite.
for you. Yeah.
It's you have to, because it was my job. Another part of the job, and a very important one, was to bring them up to speed.
Right.
So if I'm talking to them, I'm in the middle of a bit. It doesn't matter. The stage manager go, "We're ready, Bob." I go, "Okay." I said, "Always give me at least a minute after ready, Bob." So because I remember now, Ted was coming in the door because he had a fight with Diane, and whatever the
Right.
circumstance.
But they don't know that yet. So, yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's not how you watch a play. So it makes sense that like when Newhart comes out and does that, it sets a tone of like, this isn't going to be like a play. Like you do want to break the fourth wall because what they're going to see is not going to fit into that expectation.
Right.
Because it's hard to watch them. And I've been to some where friends were writers and, especially later sitcoms where, I don't know, 25% of the show's on pre-tape. So you're sitting there watching a television.
You're watching TV. You have dinner and you go, "Oh, we got tickets to a show," and you're watching TV. But they try to limit the pre-tapes as much as they can. It's only if it's a very messy scene where the hair gets messed up, and that's going to take a half hour to
Right.
do. They kind of know which pre-tapes are really essential.
But like to your point too, and I lived in the UK for a while and went to tapings there, a lot of panel shows and stuff, and those are mostly live to tape. That didn't take quite as long, but like the quickest show was Who's the Boss, where it'd take like 2 hours to do the thing, but that was because like Tony Danza was running a tight ship. I mean, you're getting.
I put that in, right?
Yeah.
There should not be a question mark after who's the boss. There should be an exclamation point. He was the boss.
Yeah.
I went to see him recently in New Bedford or Fall River, and it was a great old theater. And he's doing his song and dance, and he's terrific. He's so amiable and so nice.
He's
Unless you get him
old
mad.
showbiz. Yeah. Yeah,
And
he
he lucked
softened.
into it, much like I did, in that he was a boxer and a impresario at the time, Jerry Weintraub, saw him boxing. He goes, "This kid is beautiful." I mean, he with the hair, and the face, and the ruggedness, and that's how he got discovered, just by boxing. He didn't set out to be an actor.
And he got discovered like a year or two after Rocky too, so that type was like in the air. He's like,
Yeah.
all right, this is perfect. So you bring up an interesting thing about how you got into this, and it's probably the only time I've heard this story where you didn't do stand up. You were doing improv in college and a little bit in Boston, I think, right, when you
Yep.
you moved up here, which is how you met Jay Leno, because Boston in the 70s, and Boston's known to be a stand-up town, but stand-up in Boston really didn't become a thing till the 80s, till Barry Crimmins was doing the Ding Ho, and you got all those guys there. But in the 70s, it was kind of disparate. Some people were doing stand-up type things, but it was like folk clubs and, improv groups. It wasn't stand-up like we know it now. And you moved out to LA and got a job basically doing exactly what you did for audiences, but on bus rides from LA to Las Vegas, right?
Yeah. Instead of an audience waiting for 8 hours, this was a 2-week audience.
Almost a Friends taping.
Oh my God. It was good training for me to do what I was destined, I guess, to do. And yeah, I tried a lot of stuff out. Like I remember going up the coast in California, and it was a dead period. I go, "Oh, ladies and gentlemen, in a few minutes, on the left-hand side of the bus, we're going to pass what probably most of you will know of, the Millard Fillmore Rock, our late great president."
Last of the Whigs.
I go, when I say hit it, take your cameras, and there were no digital cameras then. I would get to the left, because you won't be able to see it until you get home. And then you'll say, "Oh my God, it does look like Millard Fillmore." First of all, no one knows what Millard Fillmore looked like. And they all snap pictures. I go, "You'll see when you get home, Millard Fillmore."
It's a long con bit. It takes weeks to get that thing
Yeah, right.
printed.
Yeah, go to the kiosk,
Yeah,
in every parking lot, the
photo
Kodak
mat. Yeah.
kiosk.
So it's like you're doing that, and then I think it was a guy you knew from improv was writing on Laverne and Shirley and got a promotion to producer and just hired you as a writer?
Unbelievable. I don't think it's ever happened to anybody without showing a sample. He just thought I was funny. He goes, "Do you ever think of being a writer?" I go, "No." He's going, "Well," because I was thinking of leaving LA at the time. I got
Yeah.
the tour guide thing was played out. I hadn't made any connections and didn't want to at the time. And what he said when they were playing paddle tennis, which was a precursor to pickleball,
Yep.
right? It was a deflated tennis. Anyway, he said, "Well, don't go back just yet." And 2 weeks later, he had heard that he was going to be promoted, because at the time, Penny and Cindy would replace writers like they would pencils,
Yeah.
and upend people's lives. He was promoted to be the producer. He said, "Now I can tell you, you want to be a writer?" And the next Wednesday, I was driving up to Paramount. And that big sky.
Oh, yeah.
But I thought in my mind, I go, "Oh, I'm in show business, I guess. I'm going to go up to the guard gate and for some reason, the guy's name has to be Jimmy. And I'll say, hello, Jimmy. He goes, no, it's
Mr.
Carl.
Perlow.
Yeah, no. I go, where's my space? So wait a minute. Go through. No. All the, I see your name. Yep. Okay, where do I go? Go, you turn around here, go back on Melrose, and go down 6 blocks behind El Adobe, which is famous for Linda Ronstadt meeting Jerry Brown. I hope your audience knows any of these
Oh, yeah. No,
names.
if anyone knows them, my audience will.
Okay, good. So that was my parking space.
So you walk 2 hours back to the Paramount lot.
Yeah, my bubble was burst.
So in which, and then you end up as the warm-up comic kind of because you got in the door, but that wasn't the right fit for you. The writing.
I wasn't ready. I mean,
You'd never written a sitcom. Yeah.
Usually wrote. Instead, they go, okay, the writing's over. I go, but I was pretty good again and jumble up the time period. But when Gary said, go talk to them, it was during when obviously the show was on, and I got pretty good at it. So that carried me through, and I made it a profession. Nobody got more than $50 at the time, and I said, well, I'm going to need a little more.
Yeah, and you're doing.
That's in there, right? How I
yes, you asked for $300, and they were like,
yes,
you're crazy.
You remember the show?
I don't. It wasn't 9 to 5.
No.
Angie.
Yes.
Which got a lot of push. Angie is not well known today, but like cover TV Guide. Donna Pescow was a big star from Saturday Night Fever. Robert Hayes, but it just didn't. I think it was maybe only 2 seasons and never really reran. So
if that.
Yeah. It was on opposite Makin It with David Naughton.
Wow, David Naughton, that name.
Which was the Saturday Night Fever ripoff sitcom that he sang the theme for.
I think, I don't know if you're going to know this name or not, Greg Antonacci.
Antonacci. No? It sounds familiar, but I can't think of
He
why.
was also in The Sopranos.
Okay.
The little guy kind of had a funny eye.
Oh, yeah.
He was in Making It.
Okay, yeah, that actually checks out.
Again,
yeah.
all of this intertwines.
Yeah, it's like, that song, yeah. So you go and you do that for free. I think you did it for free to kind of like audition almost, right?
They said $300. We're not going to pay that kind of money. I go, tell you what, how about nothing? Go, what do you mean? I'll do it for free. If it makes a difference, then we'll talk some more. And I did that a lot, and I made sure that the biggest thing that I discovered and used it every time, make a big deal out of the writers and the producers because they get no accolades or even acknowledgement from the audience or even their peers. They're hired hands. So when I said, ladies and gentlemen, and I had sound at the time on 8-track tapes, so I had to have someone do the music, and they played this fanfare. Ladies and gentlemen, you never see these people, you hardly hear them, but they are the cogs that make this thing work. Without them, there's nothing. And I want to introduce them to you now, and they never got this. That was worth $300 to them just to hear that every week.
You figured out the secret of Hollywood there. It's just like that's what they want. But I mean, you're good at it too. Once you show up, you have to be able to deliver, and you did.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, it's let's get somebody new.
Right.
And in case I don't get to it, the biggest thing, if I usually was able to make every single show, but if I couldn't, if I had a conflict, I would say, I'll have someone else, you pay them. But I always made sure that they could do the job, but not great.
No.
So when I came back the next week, so good to have you back. How was the guy? He was all right, but he wasn't you. I go, yeah, I know.
It's kind of why your friend Jay Leno didn't have guest hosts like Johnny did.
Afraid, yep.
You don't want someone to do too good.
It's the Lou Gehrig, don't sit out that game. That guy's going to be there forever. What was it, Pip?
Yeah.
That took Lou Gehrig's place? Yeah.
You don't want to train your own replacement. So you're warming up the Tonight Show too, like pre Jay Leno.
That was in
Carson.
the last thing I did was 15 years on The Tonight Show.
But so that's 5 nights a week,
Yeah.
Monday through Thursday, or 4. They wouldn't do Friday night shows, I think. 5. Jay was doing 5.
Jay didn't like to give up the mantle.
Were you still doing sitcoms too? Because they would usually
Yes.
tape on like a Thursday or Friday, right?
Yeah. Are you familiar with LA traffic?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
All right. I had to go from Burbank, way up in Burbank, to MGM, Fox.
Oh, okay. That's on the
On a
west side, right?
Friday.
Yeah.
On a Friday. 1, 2, 3, 4 freeways, 2 of which are the worst intersections in the world. Again, that's not me.
Yeah.
That's
Fact.
a statistic. It's the 405 and the 10 and the 405 and the 101. So I had to think, if I'm late, play this. And, I'm on the phone, not a... do we have cell phones?
Mid 90s, you might have, yeah. Well, they had car phones.
If so, just about. No, I didn't have a car phone. but I would call them before I left. Like, I'm leaving now. So if in 20 minutes I'm not there, play the tape. And the tape, which I pre-taped, and it was good for anything. Hi, everybody. It's Bob. I'm at the Tonight Show. Now, I'm leaving here now. I'll be in my car. So sit, relax. Somebody give them a drink, whatever.
Yeah.
It was a tape that they played. Hopefully, it led into me entering live. But again, I had to come up with all this stuff.
That's just like putting yourself in one of the most stressful possible scenarios.
Come on, move. I got a warm up to do. They go, what? Are you a cook? No, it's a different kind of people. When you say warm up guy, oh, so you're a pastry chef? No. And then you have to go into what it is at the beginning of the book. And I didn't know, I haven't read the book in years, how if I meet someone new, I go, I'm a warm-up guy. I go, what do you mean? I go, so, you give backstory. You go, I take care of studio audiences. Oh, so right before the show? No, during the show.
Yeah, because people don't know how those shows are made. They don't know how it's shot. Their closest thing they can think of is stand-up, maybe like an opening act, but that's not what it's like. So it's just this totally different world.
All by itself. Nothing I could think of that comes close. But when I talk about the bad shows,
yes,
it just popped into my. I don't even know if this is in the book. I got two gigs. One was to warm up a crowd that was there all day to see Susan Powter.
Yes,
remember her?
Yes,
short blonde hair, exercise.
Yep, she had a talk show.
Yeah, that was after. I had to warm up for her video.
Her video shoots.
Yes, that was all day. The other one.
Stop the Insanity. That was the video.
Yeah, stop. Yes. The other one was. I get the call. They go, "Oh, Bob, we've heard so much about you. We think you could do this." I go, "What is it?" Michael Jackson is going to do a cover of the Beatles all together. Now, whatever it was. I go, to be honest, that's kind of out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
It's a music video. They go, oh, please. It'll take 10 minutes. He goes on at 1. We just need you from 10 minutes to 1 to 1. I go, if that's the case, okay. And they say, I go, how much? And it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
I go, I'm there.
Yeah.
So I go, and I'm there. I always go early if I can. With driving from one to the other, you can't. But for the most part, I show up extra early and stay extra late to justify money.
Yes, yeah.
So with Michael Jackson, I'm there. It's at 1 o'clock. I'm there at 12. And they let the audience in. And at the time, there were the Crips and the Bloods.
Yep.
2 very vicious gangs in L.A. Half the audience was red, half the audience was blue. But again, 10 minutes, I can do it.
They were coming in, it was like bride or groom. Which side are you sitting on?
Yeah, knife or gun. So at 5 minutes to one, I'm cooking and I'm using up all my material. 1 o'clock comes, the stage manager comes out, gives
Oh,
me
no.
one of
The
these,
stretch.
which is stretch. Okay. Rather than bore you with the story, 4 o'clock. I had already given out money from my own wallet, stuff from the set. So that was a triangle, and these two gangs to go, man, let's fight. We're
Right.
gonna
Is this
do
a sting
something.
operation?
Yeah,
What
but
is
then
this?
when he finally came on, he did it, and that was it. But wow, from 1 to 4.
That's brutal.
Ah,
And you don't know. It's not like they're going to go, all right, we told you it was, 10 minutes, but now we know it's going to be 4 a.m. Like every 10-minute increments, they're being like, it'll be 10 more minutes or 10 more. Like it's also like a painful 4 hours.
death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah. Did you meet Susan Powter when you were there? Did you talk to her
Yeah,
at all?
yeah,
Because she was kind of a fascinating story at the time. She was like 300 pounds or something and like a housewife, and then she developed like a some kind of system for losing weight, and all of a sudden became like this massive star.
yeah. She's like the Richard Simmons
Yes, very
type.
similar, very
Yeah,
similar to Richard Simmons. That's hilarious. Because then you also did some shows that were like pretty short lived, like you did the 9 to 5 television series, which ended up going in syndication later. But that one
yeah,
season, but that was like the same time you were doing Cheers, I think.
yeah. I would get calls, and I have a calendar in front of me. Hi, Bob. It's Cheers. We'd love to have you. We know you're busy. Go give me the dates, and I put the dates in and go, okay, those are solid. Then another call would come in. It's Frasier, or at the time it would be Taxi.
Yep.
Got these shows. I can't do it. I got a date, and I would fill up the calendar. Now, from what I hear, it ain't that easy.
No. Oh no.
Booking.
Well, because you probably go through a million people. Like it was, but it sounds silly, but that point in Hollywood was much more like a mom and pop kind of, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like a word of mouth thing. One thing I read in your book that I had never heard before, and I'm a big Andy Kaufman fan, and I've read all the books about him, and there's a new documentary that's really good. But I didn't know.
Man in the Moon.
No, there's a brand new documentary called "Thank You Very Much."
Sorry.
It just, yeah, very, very good. There was all kinds of stuff in that I didn't even know. Like he got the foreign man from his roommate in Boston, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. But I didn't know that I knew he didn't go to rehearsals, but I didn't know that he sent, was it Mike Binder? Binder, who's a stand-up, to basically be his stand-in during rehearsals, which is bizarre.
Yeah. Tony Clifton was the alter ego of Andy. And, he was, like you said, a performance artist rather than a stand-up. And I used to go to the improv a lot, and he played the bongo, the conga drums, but brilliant. And to die so early.
Oh,
What?
yeah. Were you on the set when he came as Tony Clifton for that
No,
rehearsal? Okay.
because that was later on.
Yeah.
And I didn't do that many taxis. Some I had a pad. When you say obscure, you're just talking about it. I did that '80s show.
Oh, yes. Yeah. With, who was there was a stand-up. She was, the lead, Margaret, what was her name? Margaret's a very like, downbeat, Margaret Smith, I think her name was the lead. And she ran the record store that 80s store took place in. If you remember the,
You know what? You and I are the only ones that remember that '80s
Yeah.
show. You go, oh, you mean that '70s show? No,
No.
I mean that '80s show.
oh, you mean that 70s show reboot that they're doing? No.
Yeah, the bad '70s reboot. And also, well, as things come into my mind, I did Major Dad.
Oh yeah. Gerald McRaney.
He thought he was an actual soldier because the audience was bussed in from army camps,
Right.
and he would come out and go, "Gentlemen," and not acting. To me, that was the funniest part of the show, that he thought he was an actual major and talked to the men.
That was one of those scenarios where you had a guy who was not a comedic actor. He had been on Simon and Simon, I think. He was Mr. Delta Burke, but he's not a comedian. He's not a comedic actor. And they hire him to be the linchpin of this sitcom, which, yeah, he's probably going to have some sort of weird delusion in order to go to work every week.
Yeah, you put the uniform on
Oh, yeah.
because there were several. I did a lot of hidden camera shows.
Yes.
And a few of them I had to to put on uniforms. I was a cop once. I was a maid. That uniform, for some reason, is bulletproof.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're that person.
Because you did a reboot of Candid Camera with Dom DeLuise, I think. That was probably the
Yeah.
biggest hidden camera
That,
show.
to this day, is still the most fun job I've had in my whole career.
Because of the people you work with, or because of just the actual function, like doing those gags?
Every aspect of it. Number one, I was the star.
Yeah.
I was the one who got the most airtime. The bits were fun to do. I didn't have to memorize any lines.
Yeah.
It all came together.
Because then, did you warm up the host segments of Scare Tactics? You didn't do any of the hidden camera stuff on Scare Tactics, right?
Just one show.
Yeah.
And rest in peace, Shannon Doherty.
Difficult.
Was the. On a similar note, I was doing Newhart, and the next stage over was Delta. They
Yeah.
named the show after her, and I was going to do that because that Newhart ended at a certain time. He had to do something, and so I go out there and I start talking, and 3 hours goes by and she hasn't come out. And finally they came. She's not going to come out of her dressing room. So say goodbye. I go, ladies and gentlemen, Delta would love to see you and do the show, but she's not feeling well. I'm so sorry. That was that. But Scare Tactics was Shannon Doherty, who was already faded, not
Yeah.
fading, faded. And it was an outdoor venue at Universal Studios, and she was the host of Scare Tactics. And again, in her trailer, 8 feet away, and wouldn't come out until like an hour and a half. I go, this diva stuff only works if you are a diva.
Yeah. If you're making money, it's
Yeah. And I worked with the real diva, Faye Dunaway, on another short-lived series with Robert Ulick, and I forget the name of it.
American Dreamer.
Nope.
It wasn't Vegas. It was after Vegas. Would have been pre-Spencer for Hire.
I think it was post everything because they were both faded.
So it was 90s then. It must have been.
You know what?
Yeah. Was she?
I have
Because
to look it up.
someone told me a story about her that someone I know made a movie with her in Canada, and there was a dress she was supposed to wear. I don't know if you've ever heard this story. I don't know if this is a famous story or not.
No.
So, they pick out this dress, and this is the dress she's going to wear in this scene. So they're going to shoot the scene, and she doesn't show to the set, and they go get her, and they're like, "What are you doing?" She's not wearing the dress. She's like, "I'm not wearing that dress." And the director's like, we did this, we went over this, like, you picked this dress out, you're wearing the dress. She's like, "I'm not wearing that dress." So he's like, "All right, we'll leave her in the trailer. We're just going to wait. She'll put it on eventually." So she doesn't come out of the trailer. They go in there and she's taking a shit on the dress. She put it on there and took a shit on it, right? So
Hey.
the director goes, "Take it to the dry cleaner, get it cleaned, and bring it back, and she's going to wear it." And he did that, and she did. She wore it.
Depends on how much power the director has, how outrageous the demand is. I mean, it's a balancing act. Every show.
I remember Curtis Armstrong told me he was doing moonlighting, and so Cybill Shepherd was a nightmare. And,
Really?
which I've heard. I don't know. Breaking news, everybody.
Yeah.
And so he was new on the show. He came in like the third season or something. They brought him in basically because her and Bruce Willis would like not show up, and they needed two characters. And so he ran into her, and he was
notoriously difficult relationship.
Yeah, I mean, and that show was so popular, they literally would be able to break the fourth wall and go, "We didn't do a new episode this week," because whatever.
They were great.
Yeah.
No, I mean, all that other stuff aside, very watchable.
Yeah, they delivered.
Two big stars, yeah.
And Curtis was like, "Oh, I'm very happy to be here. I saw the episode that aired last night and you were great." And she says, "You better not compliment me again or we're going to have a problem." And he's like, she must be kidding or whatever. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I won't compliment you again. You were great last night." And she bursts into tears and is like, "I told you not to compliment me," and goes and locks herself in the trailer. And a half hour later, they go, "Shooting's done. We're not shooting today."
Wow. Another difficult actress, Brett Butler.
Oh yes. She had some issues.
Oh, And I'm glad she had her comeuppance. I mean, almost living under a bridge
Yeah.
after her own sitcom.
Well, I mean, what people have told me, and we can get into this as much or as little as you want, is the Carsey Warner shows, which was Cybill and Grace Under Fire and Roseanne. They kind of would get these mentally vulnerable, famous people and sort of put them at the star of a show and just feed them everything you can to make them just basically go nuts. And they would, that was like their business model.
Yeah. And the end result is you end up owning the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah. You make a ton of money and you burn people out.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, one way to do it. Not the best way. But then you have a bunch of people who are like super down to earth and who, you know.
Oh, God, yeah.
You know.
And I mean, Newhart, for instance, could not be nicer. Laverne and Shirley could be nicer.
Yeah.
And the big ragu. Talk about the high school football star who stayed too long. I mean, again, most sitcom people, that's the pinnacle. And that's what they strive for, a sitcom. And another aside, remember Coach?
Yeah. Craig T.
The
Nelson.
daughter?
Oh, yes. The daughter. Yeah.
Quit the show to get into small theater. I go, wait a minute. It's the other way around. You could do small theater to get a sitcom.
Yeah.
Do you remember her name?
I don't remember her name. Even I don't remember her name.
Yeah, right. I figured if you don't, nobody.
Yeah.
Clear something.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, it's funny because you also mentioned this with Cheers when Shelley Long left the show for a movie career that never really panned out, even though she was great and she was in a lot of movies after that were very good. But there was,
but never the notoriety or the fame or fortune of Cheers. You don't leave a hit show for anything. McLean Stevenson.
Yep.
Bad move. Although they did back a truck up to his house.
Yes.
Full of money.
Yes.
So it wasn't a terrible move. It was a bad move, but not one that's life changing.
Yeah.
For the most part, stay with the show until that's a wrap, everybody. And usually you don't get that. Usually a show is canceled, as you well know, in the summer. So you don't get to do a last show like Cheers, Newhart, Full House, a handful.
Yeah. Where you're going out on your own accord, which otherwise it's like you're in high school in the summer between sophomore and junior year. They call you and they're like, high school's canceled. Dude, don't come back for junior year.
Oh, really?
You're like, what do you mean?
Do your own schooling. But again, save your money. I mean, you know, I do a presentation. I do cruise ships, and I go through all that stuff. For some reason, now I know the reason. From day one, I took pictures of me. They're in the book. That's this many. And they go, oh, you have a camera. That's his selfie. No, they didn't have cameras.
No.
Selfie. Not only did I need a camera, I needed permission and a third person to take the picture.
Yeah.
So, luckily I have all those and videos too. So that's all part of the presentations that I do.
Because you get you and Clooney, although it's later Clooney, even though you worked with him on the original ER that was based on that stage play with Elliot Gould, which was another very short-lived show.
Wow. And big Conchetta Farrell was in it. Elliot Gould, obviously. Mary McDonald, and then the Asian woman who was like the secretary. She was the only one who was in the original stage version, I think. Right. I forgot her name. But,
I can't remember her name either.
And I do a thing in the show where I go, if you could pick out somebody, I'll give you a T-shirt or something. In risky business, a cop shows up at the door to tell him to keep it down. Who's the cop?
Oh, geez, I don't know.
I forgot his name. Bruce. He was the transvestite hooker from Risky Business. Bruce Young.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Again, these little tidbits come up.
But you seem to not have any aspirations to be on camera that much, right? Like you'd get on shows every now and then, but it would kind of be like, "Hey, Bob, go play this part." Like you weren't like, "I want my own show."
Actually, I came close a few times, but for the most part, those guest appearances was tied into my salary.
Right.
I go, well, we can't give you that. Well, give me a part on one show, like the Newhart, where I was the husband, and that'll make up the difference in the warm up.
Oh, I didn't even. That's very smart. That's a very
Yeah.
smart thing.
But to say I came close, I did a pilot with the New York show that I did. Let
yeah.
Bob do it,
Yep.
where I would go do tasks for people.
Yep.
I got the rights back to it in early 2000s. And Jason Alexander, who I became friendly with, said, "Do you still have the rights to that?" I go, "Yeah." I go, "Let's go pitch it." He became my partner, and we sold it to Nickelodeon, and we made the pilot.
Yep.
But again, as far as your initial question, aspirations, who doesn't? Who doesn't want that? And I hate when I listen to a lot of podcasts that go, "Oh, so and so is so shy." I go, "No, they're not shy. That's a lie.
Yeah.
They picked acting as a profession.
Yeah.
So,
They weren't torn.
in real life, I'm shy. This is real life."
Yeah. Yeah. Please don't film me. Yeah. But then the people who are most down to earth are the people who seem to get that, right? Like you talk about Harry Anderson a lot, and he went out of his way to like do stuff with you that he's not getting paid for. He's helping, but that guy knows, like, yeah, you're a performer. Like that's what we're here for. Like it's not.
And there's a credo that my good friend, we became very close after Growing Pains, Alan Thicke.
Yes.
His philosophy, and it makes so much sense, was it takes less time to be nice to somebody than it does to be Sean Penn and get into a fight. That takes longer than, "Oh, nice to meet you," and knowing how to move on. Excuse me, and Jay is the same way, Leno. He will go out of his way to make a friend because they'll tell 100 people how nice you are. And if you're mean, they'll tell 1,000 people what a jerk you were.
Yeah, that's my favorite story of that is Paul Newman's thing, where Paul Newman wouldn't sign autographs.
Right.
But what he would do is offer him a Coke. You've heard that? He'd say, "I'd buy you a Coke. I'll sit here for 5 minutes with you and talk to you." And people would say no. It was like a way to weed out people who were just like, "I just want an autograph so I can sell it or whatever."
Right.
Which is like the best way to do it.
And I want to know what they're signing. I just saw Wimbledon, and he's signing like this.
It's like a napkin or whatever.
Is it just your initials?
Yeah.
No. It's not. It's not.
Oh, how fast they're going.
You can't write Alex Singer that quick.
No. Scribble. Yeah.
Yes.
That's fine. You bring this up too, and I one thing in the book that I was curious about is you talk about meeting Frankie and Annette, who had just done Back to the Beach, which is an awesome movie that I really love. But Annette had actually been on Growing Pains before that as well. She was on like a season 2 episode of Growing Pains, but I wonder if that was before you were working
before.
there.
Maybe I had to go to New York for that other show. I had to quit that. And Who's the Boss to again, this
Steve
could have been my
Ducey,
big break.
Yeah.
Steve Ducey. What he's up to.
Was his kid hanging
This
around on
week.
the set ever when you were there? Is now though. When I see that guy in the White House press room, I can't remember his name. But how strange is that, seeing people that you worked with on, their entertainment shows, and then kind of go on to be like these weird, like, pillars of politics that are now like weirdly influential on actual things.
Well, the only one, again, we just mentioned him, besides Steve Ducey, who became buddies with Trump. I can't think of any. They enlist in causes like Ted Danson with the oceans, and Woody Harrelson, the environment. But for the most part, not too many made that leap, like Schwarzenegger, or Ducey into politics.
Yeah, they're not Sonny Bono in it.
Yeah, right.
Or Gopher. Who's the guy that was Gopher? He was a senator, I think, for a while too. I can't think of his name. I feel bad now.
From Illinois or
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah. Are there any shows that you worked on that, we talked about the bad ones or the short-lived ones, but were there any like maybe pilots or something like that you thought were amazing but didn't go, or that not enough people saw, or really short-lived where you're like, wow, I thought that would have hit?
A few. Again, in preparation to meet you, I was trying to think of shows. Not that many that come to mind that should have made it. The good that you can tell the good ones.
They rose to the top.
You're not paying an audience to laugh. If they laugh, it's because it was funny. Not the third or fourth time, but the first time. I'm trying to think. I did the David Steinberg interview show. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Where he sits down with a comic.
Oh, yes. I did see that. Yeah.
That was kind of fun.
Yeah, he was another guy that he would fill in for Johnny Carson.
Yep.
And I think is he Canadian?
Him, David Brenner.
Yep.
I think David Brenner has the record for the amount of times he stood in. And Jay would be his regular Friday fill-in. Little did he know.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny how you go through all these things. And were you still watching the shows? Because I think you said you never watched Friends. But
yeah.
Were you watching the shows you were warming up?
Friends. I didn't like working on it. When they say, what's the worst show you've ever worked on? Friends is right up there. I mean, but that does not take away from the fact that it was a good show. I mentioned 5 to 8 hours taping. They did not come out, which to me was a criminal offense. How could you not? Thank you all. Any questions?
They don't care.
How easy is that? Coach, they all came out.
Yeah.
And said hello. Thank you for staying. And blah, blah, blah. Just common courtesy.
Well, it's to your point before. It's easier to do. Like, it's easier to just come out for 2 minutes and say hello than to
What
be
a
like,
nice guy. What a sweetheart. Yeah.
Yeah. That was what I was going to ask you. So, you're watching these shows and they're doing the same joke over and over again. Sometimes they're swapping out punchlines, but it's mostly the same jokes. But there's a few people who I imagine, from what I've been told, are just like killers with that stuff and were able to keep it fresh every take, like Larroquette or like Peter Scolari and some people, Julia, people like that, who could still, like, somehow there was...
Keep it fresh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which seems like a crazy skill to have. I couldn't imagine what that was like to watch.
It's very nuanced. So you would not notice, except, that's another way to do that. Yeah.
It's still funny, even though I know exactly what you're going to say somehow.
Yeah.
Which, who does that now? I feel like there's no, you have Laurie Metcalf and Larroquette, and there's like such a small handful of those people. I can't think of anyone.
Today's landscape is dismal.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch just because, my only connection to show business now is watching TMZ.
Not a bad one.
Yeah. But as far as people keeping it fresh, minimal. I mean, very few can do it. It's a job for them.
Was there anyone you watched growing up that you worked with later that you were like starstruck or like intimidated by?
Not really. You really get to see the other side. But, I met so many of them that the uniqueness and the excitement, I go, okay, it's a job.
Another day at work, yeah.
Yeah, Newhart was pretty special, and just such a low-key, nice man. Just a nice man.
He's exactly like you think he's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just heard this yesterday. They go, you never want to meet your heroes because inevitably they disappoint. But he was just a sweet guy.
I'll say, doing stand-up and doing the show, I always say, I've met almost all my heroes and they've all been great. Like, they've just been every single one. Or like, I did a bunch of shows with Saget years ago. We did like a week, a tour. Actually, we did the Newport Yacht Club. And Rickles kept calling him.
Yeah, they were close.
Yeah,
And,
so
and
he would.
Stamos too.
Yeah.
Let me see if I have this Saget. We can talk while I'm
Oh
looking.
yeah. So I mean, he was just the nicest dude, and it was funny because he was like, yeah, him and Stamos would go over, I think either Rickles or Newhart's house once a week, and they'd have like dinner with their wives. And,
Yeah.
like, and I'm like, that's just hilarious. And
The dinner that I wanted to go to was every night. Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner.
Yes, watch
would order
Jeopardy.
Deli. Oh, I want to come.
did you ever work with Carl Reiner?
Not worked with him. A friend of mine who created Full House.
Oh yeah, Jeff Franklin.
Yeah,
He wrote Summer
He-
School with Carl Reiner, right?
exactly. That's the only time I met Carl Reiner.
Because like you have those stand-ups who are like Saget's the one where people are like so shocked because his stuff was so dirty, but a nice guy. Like he's a good
The
dude.
Aristocrats.
Yes, yes.
He tells it as good as anybody.
I mean, I remember even as a kid seeing him as the dad on Full House and being shocked because I had seen his stand-up.
Yeah. What he says about the Olsen.
Yes, yes. Let's just shock everybody. Were you happier to have like a regular gig, like I'm going to do I do all the seasons of this show, or I'm on this show for years, or was it better
Yeah.
to kind of mix it up?
You know what? They both had their high points. Being the regular guy, I did every episode of Newhart for 8 years, Full House, Coach. Again, I those were the when I filled my calendar up. Those
Yeah.
were the ones. I loved it. And a new show, especially a brand new show, it takes the audience forever to know who the characters are.
I wouldn't even think of
Whereas, yeah, they go, oh, I wonder what they're thinking, so they're not laughing. Whereas an established show is a lot different than that.
that. It's less work for you because you don't have to set the groundwork as much because they already know what to expect and what they're in for.
Yep, those are our friends.
That makes so much sense, and I don't know why that didn't occur to me, but yeah, that would be better. Who did you have like a bit like a rival warm up guy? Like I've had Paul Provenza on. I know he did like Facts of Life and a couple other shows, but there was no one else that was like your.
No. The thing is, I never saw anybody else work, so
Right.
I had nothing to compare it to. My stuff was so me that nobody could steal it. Go, oh, a joke? There's no jokes.
Right.
I'm just schmoozing. Are you going to take away my schmooze? Leave my schmooze
Take
alone.
my schmooze. It's a schmooze donation. Do you have a lot of souvenirs you've kept from those times? Are you like one of those people, or?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have bins. I give away stuff at my shows. Swag.
Yeah.
Because that was my whole thing. To go, okay, here's the price for the warm up. In addition, I need 30 T-shirts. They don't have to say single guy, but they did, or hats. That's in the book too,
Yeah.
where I had to go to Venice Beach.
Yeah.
Alan and Harvey. I can't find it.
Oh, that's
it
all right.
was, Saget giving me some advice, a video.
Yeah, it was just like he would do stuff like that, like much like Harry
Yeah.
Anderson. They would go out of their way, and there's no benefit to them to do that. They were just helping.
Except from what we said earlier, they'll tell a myriad of people how nice you were, and that gets out. Have you seen Matt Rife?
Yes.
You know
Yep.
who he is?
Yeah.
You like him?
I haven't seen enough to. It's definitely not my style, but I don't think I've seen enough to like lock
Yeah,
into it.
it's to me, it's all crowd work.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. So he's much more polished than I could ever be. And he's this
Handsome,
hunky
yeah.
guy, handsome, but he's good. I saw him about 3 weeks ago. He was in Providence.
That must be interesting because especially since over COVID, stand up has not been revitalized, but this sort of crowd work piece has really come into play much more in the last few years, where people
Yeah.
post clips and all this stuff. So it must be really strange to be in your position where that's kind of what you spent so long doing, and seeing that kind of the same thing presented, but now in a way that never was, never people wouldn't do that as their act before.
No, it was a small portion, usually with a heckler.
Yes.
But Matt Rife, and he's excellent at it, can pull stuff out. Jay is pretty good with that too.
But he probably only does it if he has to, right? Like,
Yeah. He has his 45 minutes, and any diversion will take up time.
Yeah.
Whereas I had all the time in the world.
You wanted to do the opposite. Take up as much time as you possibly can.
Yeah, right.
Do you have a prized souvenir or anything from any of your shows that's like the coolest thing you got, or like the coolest memorabilia or memory?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's the diner, which is one of the top Laverne and Shirley shows. It was Squiggy's dead uncle Laszlo. So I have the sign that says Laszlo's place.
Oh yeah, I can see right there.
You can see that?
Yeah, I could see the Laszlo. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So did you ask for that? You're like, can I have this? Or
No, I stole it.
that's not easy to steal. That's pretty big.
No. And there's the script.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, that's really
Night
cool.
Only. Tales from Hollywood. Yeah, so I got stuff.
That's super cool. I love that you kept that sign, because most people, especially people I've talked to, wouldn't, especially at that time in your career, would never think to take it. They would be like, I wish I grabbed that,
Yeah, no, I'm glad I did.
Because that would have just been thrown away. It was like a set thing for that week, and they're like, we don't need this.
They're not going to do Dead Laszlo's Place again.
Although, knowing knowing him, he might have done another spinoff. I think Happy Days had the most spinoffs of any TV show in history.
Pretty much.
It was either, it had to be Happy Days had the most spinoffs. Because All in the Family, maybe?
Maude, the Jeffersons.
Yep. What's the one with B. Arthur? It's Maude, but there's also
I did that one, Amanda's Place.
Amanda's Place, yes, which was a remake of Faulty Towers.
Faulty Towers.
Which
look at us.
I know.
Hashing this stuff out.
I got to spend a day with John Cleese a couple of years ago, which was very interesting. Very interesting guy. But we talked about how America's tried to remake Faulty Towers, I think 5 times. And Amanda's Place was one of them. John Larroquette starred in one of them, a show called Pain. He was the Basil Fawlty character. This was post Night Court.
That didn't even ring a bell.
Didn't do well. And then there's one, and this is like my favorite story about how much Hollywood executives don't understand things. They said, we think the problem with the show is the Basil Fawlty character. So what we're going to do is remake the show, but just about the hotel.
They have no idea. I mean, these executives, it's the Peter principle. They rise to the incompetence level.
Yes, absolutely. That's my favorite illustration of that. Well, I don't want to take you for a whole night. I'm so glad that I got a chance to talk to you. Like I said, I love the book, and just tons of stories.
Anything else you want to know? The little deep secrets?
Oh, is there some secrets? You got some secrets here?
They don't come to mind. But there's the Tim Allen stuff.
Oh, yeah. So Tim Allen, who I do not like. I did not care for Home Improvement. So this is a great story. It's like basically the only time he got fired, right?
Yeah. And for no reason except, from what I heard, jealousy that I was getting laughs.
Yep.
If that were the case, I would have been fired many, many times. If I didn't know how to mesh what I do with the show to make it seamless. Instead, he got upset because I was getting laughs. I go, doesn't he understand? I'm not getting, I could get more laughs. I've done a lot of terrible shows where it would have been much easier for me to shine. But that's not the job. The job is it's going to look seamless. And I was doing that with Home Improvement, but he got bent out of joint because so many laughs were coming. But that would have bled over into the show.
Which is the ultimate insecure stand-up thing to do. Because that's a guy going, I got to follow this.
Yeah.
Which is not how it works in a sitcom.
No. And I bring them into the show. I go, and now the show. No. I go, oh, you're so good at blah, blah, blah. Let's do it again.
And you point out, too, like, this show's a huge hit. This guy's selling books. He's in movies. He's the star of this show. Like, even if you were killing, who cares?
Yeah. And they hired me for the season. So now I had that open, granted that I could pick and choose, but at that point in the season, they've already hired
Everyone else is
their
going.
warm-up guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That hurt.
did you land somewhere else after that, like that season? Or?
Probably. It's so long ago.
Yeah.
The fill in. Oh, Bob's available. Maybe we could do this.
Were you?
But boy,
Because you're on these studio lots, and they're shooting 20 shows at these studios, so you're probably running into people shooting other shows and stuff, or at the commissary
Yep.
and that kind of thing. Were there other shows that like were infamously like you're like, oh, thank God I don't work on that? Like, were there Roseanne horror stories, or like
I worked on her late night show
Oh, yeah.
called Saturday Night,
yes,
and she was a nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people that worked on the show, so this is all second, but most of my stuff is firsthand. I was there. I saw it happen with my own eyes. With Roseanne, I heard that she loved firing writers so much that she would purposely not know their names and made them wear a number. Number 5. And you could almost see that.
Yeah.
I'm so glad she's getting her comeuppance now, because the way she treated people. I mean, she's up there with Cybill and Brett Butler.
yeah.
Again, I'm pretty removed from the scene, but boy, it's there's no need for that.
No, and I mean you're not the first person to bring that up either. Like I think it was Russ Woody I had on who wrote for Cybill, and I think his quote he said to me was like, "The thing she did to some of the people below the line was criminal." For Cybill, and Tom,
It's their livelihood.
yeah,
so they're not
like
gonna
you just messing with
piss
people.
off the star.
Yeah, for no reason. Tom Arnold's become a good buddy, and it's funny talking to Tom because he's very aware of how awful the thing was
Oh,
there.
yeah.
And I see how much he was kind of covering for her, making nice with people. But the horror stories of who was telling me, it might have been Laura Keitlinger was telling me she was writing for the show, and one day Roseanne came in and she was like, I forget the name. She's like, every writer named Mark, stand up. You're fired. And like 3 guys stood up, and she's like, oh, I forgot about you. I guess you're fired too. Like she just meant like one of
Without regard to a mortgage that has
Yeah.
to be paid, and those jobs are, even if you're esteemed, it's tough. I mean, they staff up, they watch their pennies, and for her to just dismiss people out of hand unless they have a contract, but usually the contract, because so many people wanted the job, was just for 13 weeks. Same thing with Conan O'Brien.
Yep.
I think every 7 days he had a re-up.
Yeah, it's like it's and you talk about actually later and some of those other weirder late night shows too, they don't necessarily translate. Like when you're doing a weirder show for a different audience, it does make a big difference if you're in the sort of marquee show in the primetime. Like it's not going to click the same way necessarily.
Yeah.
Like I always look at that, like, the ABC Letterman show. I mean, the NBC Letterman show is so much
The
different.
morning show?
The morning show, and then even the night show versus the CBS show, which just doesn't, it's not the same, like being an hour earlier and him a little older, like it doesn't work now.
But there's that whole, again, just a little bit off the track with that, of audience friendly,
Yeah.
which Jay was, and Letterman wasn't. He was more of an acquired
Which was his
taste.
shtick. He's like a grumpy, cantankerous guy.
Exactly, yeah. So, that didn't work. And Jay used to be great as a guest on Letterman. Yeah, I'll tell you what my beef is.
Yeah.
It's a sandwich.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the thing for Letterman too, who I've heard a ton of horror stories about, but when he was a younger guy with that kind of attitude, it was novel and kind of interesting. Some guy who's 30 acted kind of like an old man. It's
I
funny.
remember.
But when he's
'Cause that was-
60, it seems creepy and like
Yep.
off-putting.
Yeah, no, because Jay and I were roommates, so I would go to the Improv every night, and he worked hard. Every night he would do anything that came up. He still does.
Yeah.
When he doesn't have to. His wife isn't doing that well, so he's got that on his mind.
But that stand-up, those people, you have to go do it.
Yeah.
Even if they don't need to. Sagan was like that. I mean, he didn't need to do those shows. He's like, I like doing stand-up.
And the most notorious of them all, Robin.
Yes. Yeah.
He was in this improv group that I was involved with, and we're having the 50th anniversary in September.
Oh, wow.
These are the oldest improvisers in the world, but he was in the original group. He would do Mork and Mindy, get out of there at 8, go to the Comedy Store, do a set, improv, the Westwood Improv. I mean, and that was nightly.
Yeah.
So he was a performing junkie.
Yeah. I mean, you were there at the boom when all those guys were out there.
It was. It was the best of times, and it was the best of times. Really, I mean, what can you say? I mean, the sitcoms were nothing short of good, mostly great, some brilliant. The bad ones just went away. Now, the bad ones are on TV.
Yeah, that's what's risen to the top somehow.
Yeah.
They just churn them out. And even the stuff that wasn't a huge hit, like a bunch of guys who I think worked on Laverne and Shirley went on and did Gary Shandling's show, the first one that he did, the sort of fourth wall breaking sitcom, a couple guys in Ellen Zweibel. And he did warm on that.
It's Gary Shandling's
show. Brilliant show.
This is the theme from Gary's show.
Hope you like the theme song. But weird and funny and, not a huge hit, but
Just
great.
so good. I remember one in particular that I did. The end of it is two friends, and they set up railroad tracks. What was the song? Stand By Me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And they would, with their arm around each other, walk. I mean, just clever stuff. And then, I don't know why it's not on everybody's mind, but the Larry Sanders Show doesn't get much better than that. I mean, and it's so... I don't know if you're that familiar, but me knowing late night the way I do,
accurate.
It captures it perfectly.
Yeah.
So good. Hey, now. I thought, let Bob do it.
Yeah.
The Nickelodeon was going to be my big thing. I remember on Candid Camera, and I was doing good. I'm good at hidden camera. And Vin DeBona was directing.
Another New England guy.
He said, He said, I hope you're ready. I go, for what? He goes, this is going to make you a big star. I remember it like it's yesterday, but obviously it didn't.
Well,
but again,
he could have been right.
If we ever get together in person, I'll show you some clips.
Oh, I'd love to see clips. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Well, I'll probably be down that way at some point this summer. So
give me a call. This has been wonderful.
This has been great. Thank you so much for doing this. And like I said, everyone who listens to the show will love the book and go check out a show that you're doing or presentations if they're on a boat.
All right, let me know. I'll do it again if you want to. If you're down this way, get together for a drink.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That'd be great. Thank you so much.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks,
you. You're welcome. There you go. That's Bob. And I am the guy who knew him from Night of the Comet, one of my favorite movies. That is now 3 people from Night of the Comet that I've had on the show. I get interesting statistics of like which movies and television shows I've had the most people from. So I think 3 from Night of the Comet is maybe that ties it with Nightmare on Elm Street 4. I think so. Okay. Someone will send me the stats. Anyway, go buy his book on Amazon, The Warm-Up Guy, Bob Perlow. I put links in the show description. You will not be disappointed. And speaking of not being disappointed, if you tune in next week for a brand new episode of TV Guidance Counselor, you won't be disappointed because I'll be here with one. So I'll see you then. And take care of yourself.
It is the year 2025. A once proud world has been reduced to ruin and despair.